12 stands for local news. From Arizona's most watched station, 12 News at 5 starts now.
These homes set the tone for Del Webb's anthem.
Small town feeling in a big area.
But some residents say a plan to add apartments is killing the small town feel and producing more than a few sour notes.
I don't want it to bring in any riffraff, and I want people that have pride and ownership out here.
Many of these residents say they're angry because they had no idea the apartments were coming.
I specifically asked, are we going to have apartments here? And they said, no, we don't need to do that. We're selling so strong, we don't need to sell apartments.
Anthem officials dispute that and say residents should have read their notes more carefully.
Apartments, multifamily, commercial, homes of all different sizes have always been in the Anthem plan.
If you're not in real estate, you don't understand that mixed use includes apartments. When we asked specifically what that property was for, we were told that's probably going to be commercial because there's not a need.
Experts say it's the home buyer's responsibility to read all the documents associated with a new home and even do research if necessary.
So it's a good idea for the buyer to go down to the planning and zoning department and find out what the current adjacent land use is.
Although he's only 17 years old, Paris Denard already has a taste for politics.
They're an official PAC.
He developed that appetite almost 3 years ago when a friend invited him to a meeting that changed his life.
I get elected to office. I was elected the corresponding secretary for the Arizona Teenage Republicans.
The thing was, Paris wasn't sure he was a Republican, so a friend helped him out.
He gave me about a 20-question test to see how my responses matched up to the Republican platform.
The result? A perfect match. From there, things really took off.
I was elected the outstanding teenage Republican of the state of Arizona, and then at our national convention, I was elected outstanding teenage Republican in the nation.
With that honor, the privilege to speak at the Republican National Convention in Philadelphia, and the chance to meet his heroes.
General Colin Powell, Congressman J.C. Watts Jr. are two of my biggest role models at this time.
It hasn't really hit me yet. And when I see him step up on that platform, when I see him on TV, I'll just be overwhelmed.
Harris is well aware his is not the face usually associated with the Republican Party, but he says it doesn't matter.
When I go to deliver the speech, I hear the message, look past me and hear my heart, and that's what I'm speaking on.
It was so loud. It was like a tremendous explosion.
I was hiking down the trail, and the next thing I remember, I was sitting in the mud.
The loudest lightning bolt of my life.
When Don Mowry and Barbara Wall went hiking with a group Saturday, they had no idea one of their friends would not return from the trip alive. 66-year-old Robert Wise was killed when a bolt of lightning struck a tree he was standing by.
And it stripped the bark from top to bottom.
Don was about 75 feet away. He wasn't hurt. Barbara was. She suffered burns and bruises on her arms and was knocked senseless by the devastating jolt.
I don't, it's like, where are we? What's going on? What happened? And I didn't know.
Experts say if you get caught in a monsoon when you're out hiking, it's a good idea to move away from tall trees and get to lower ground. But in this case, Don says it didn't matter.
We're all experienced hikers. We know not to hike in the lightning. And we just had absolutely no forewarning whatsoever.
Even so, Barbara says hikers must be careful.
You can't be too cautious, and read your weather signs and take every precaution that you can.
The folks at Firestone have been extremely busy lately.
Okay, this is a paperwork you need.
And considering they have to remove and destroy more than 6 million tires, it's easy to understand why. Firestone is getting replacement tires.
We expect 300 to 400 tires per week to come in.
Just not enough to prevent a long wait.
Probably 4 to 5 weeks.
But some drivers are finding alternatives.
I went to Big O and I bought Big O tires, and now I'm going to get a $100 credit for each tire from Firestone.
Yeah.
Meet Art Ross.
We'll go left, I think.
He had the same recalled tires on his Ford Explorer replaced 2 years ago.
Then at high speeds on the freeway, they would flop so badly and bounce so much that the steering wheel would shake in my hand.
It wasn't cheap.
The total price for replacing the 4 tires was nearly $400.
Now he wants his money back. But Firestone won't give it to him.
But if you had indeed replaced your tires previously, as I had, due to the tire failure, there is no provision anywhere for reimbursing me, which seems kind of silly. I don't understand the policy. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It lets people know that there's a missing animal out there that someone's looking for.
But the city of Phoenix doesn't see it that way.
It's in violation of the city ordinance, so.
It's cracking down on people who post signs that many say are eyesores.
The neighbors say they complained because that's what they said, that they make the neighborhood look bad, tacky.
Miguel Rodriguez is on the front line of the fight.
As part of the City of Phoenix's Graffiti Busters team, Miguel's day starts at about 6 in the morning. He heads out on the street looking for illegally placed signs on telephone poles and public property. Although his truck with its flashing lights and City of Phoenix sign resembles a police car, Miguel's not out to arrest anybody.
Our program is to educate the public, not to cite them.
But the city's policy is inciting some people like Meredith Hedges, who lost her cat Bang.
There are a lot of people out there that don't have some of the resources that I do, financially and otherwise, to try to locate the cat. Therefore, the only resource they have really is to put a sign up.
The city advised the public to advertise and different, use like a newspaper, a neighborhood newspaper.
Meredith says putting up signs offers hope that the city of Phoenix is tearing down. Identity fraud is a big problem here in the Valley.
It happens on a daily basis throughout the metropolitan area, throughout Arizona.
Criminals strike in many different ways, but usually target someone's mail.
They'll send for credit card applications in that person's name. They may also change that person's address with the post office. We've set up some things to stop them from doing that. But over a period of time, and it could take almost up to a year.
Once they get the goods, the criminals go to work buying everything in sight.
Nationwide, the figures are probably hundreds of millions of dollars in identity theft.
Helpless. But one thing is I didn't have any money in my account, could not write checks.
Patricia Flowers is a victim of a stolen check scheme.
The first clue was I got an overdraft that went into my Visa card for a certain amount, and I realized that, well, no, there's a problem here, and that's when I called the bank.
Her identity hasn't been stolen, but she's at risk now that someone has had access to her personal information.
It's a scary feeling.
You might get a credit card convenience check. Most people just say, I'm not going to use that, they throw it away. Well, these people will go out into dumpsters, into your garbage, anywhere, dumpster diving, and they will get that information. They'll use it.
Despite the pitfalls, experts say you can protect yourself by following just a few simple steps.
Today, it's our pain,
Firefighters at Station 5 are feeling the pain of losing Captain Ron Cummings, a friend who touched and saved so many lives over the years.
Yesterday was the worst day of my career. We're hurting.
He's been called a hero, but friends say Ron was much more than that.
He was a fireman's fireman.
He made you laugh, he made you think, he made you feel special.
So he was the perfect person to have with you in a bad situation.
When you walked in the station and he hadn't seen you, he'd put his arm around you and make you feel like he just saw you yesterday.
These firefighters are used to seeing death, just not so close to home.
One of our members passes away untimely like this. It's just very difficult to understand. It's in between the calls when we had the camaraderie, when we talked about our families, what we do on our days off, the friends that we have, the things that we do. That's going to be the hardest part.
Our loss is tremendous. I mean, when we sit here, we not only lost a guy who was a great teacher, we lost a guy who made people feel good.
Going to the grocery store can be a pleasant experience.
Here you go, thank you.
Except when you're in a hurry.
I stood in line many times for one item and had to wait.
Please scan your Fry's VIP Club card now.
Well, the next time you go to this Fry's in West Phoenix, you may not have to wait any longer. That's because now you can check out yourself.
We have 4 lanes open from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. in our location, and just check themselves out. They can go right through the line.
Done. Please place the item in the bag.
With push-button screens and voice prompts, the system is pretty easy to use. If you have questions, someone's there to help.
It's easy, it's quick. I don't have to wait in line. I mean, in and out.
That's all.
The machines can scan everything in the store, including alcohol and tobacco. But if you're underage and you think you can slip by,
Please show your ID to the cashier now.
think again.
U-Scan is currently in 3 other stores in the Valley and could spread to more soon.
Thank you for shopping at Fry's.
In West Phoenix, Bernard Watson, 12 News.
There she is. That was homecoming. Showing her.
Friends say 15-year-old Ashley Williams had a habit of making people laugh.
She was always really happy with everybody. She was like the life of the party.
Jacqueline Meredith will always remember that homecoming night. It's her memories from last night she'd like to forget.
I had a friend called me and told me to get to the hospital because there was an accident.
Sheriff's deputies say Ashley was killed when the van she was in rolled over after it was hit by a car. News of the accident spread fast, with many people gathering at the one place they felt comfortable: school.
A couple hours later, by around 11 o'clock, 3/4 of the parking lot was full of cars and people were just coming in here getting sick.
I don't think it's really set in yet. I was shocked. I'm really upset.
All day long, mourners have placed flowers at the intersection where Williams died. Yet for some, the sad reality hasn't hit home yet.
This is the last time we're ever going to see her again.
I can't even imagine her gone. I keep thinking she's just gonna walk around the corner and say, you know, I was just kidding. But I know she's not.
Monday, Jacqueline will head back to a school that used to feel so familiar, but now seems so strange.
It's gonna be really hard coming to school tomorrow and her not being where she usually is, and dance tomorrow after school, she's not gonna be there. It's gonna be really hard.
A good man, very good man.
Julie Lewis can hardly contain herself when talking about her husband, Chuck.
Chuck was a man, very handsome man, very charismatic, full of life, loved his kids.
But sadly, Chuck is not around anymore because he made the decision to start smoking 20 years ago in high school. After many failed attempts, he finally quit, but 1 week later, he found out it was too late.
Today's the 29th of March, and it's been, I don't know, I guess a week and a half to 2 weeks since I first learned that I have lung cancer.
Chuck died 2 months later, but before he did, he made this home video.
All my friends, Julie, the kids, man, I love everybody so much, and I can tell everybody loves me. The definition
He also wanted to warn others about the fatal choice he made.
I think I truly played a role in this cancer right here.
Now Julie and the Arizona Department of Health have teamed up to make sure others hear that message. They took the home video and made anti-tobacco ads that are airing right now.
I have a friend that he's already decided not to smoke. He's quit smoking. He got the patch a couple weeks ago when he saw the tape.
Julie hopes others will listen to that message, thereby avoiding her pain.
They don't have their dad who loved them. It's never going to be the same. Their life will never be the same.
In Scottsdale, Bernard Watson, 12 News.
It was basically a ghost town here.
Yesterday, the Arco station at 44th Street in McDowell looked a lot like this one a few blocks down the road. Empty, no customers. That's because there's a gas shortage. Bad news for everyone.
People were very upset. We had some people come in here saying they couldn't make it to the next station because they didn't have enough gas. So that really was bad publicity for us.
Joe's station got more gas this morning, but not before losing major money.
We usually pump anywhere from 25,000 to 30,000 gallons a day, and we pumped 9,000 yesterday. And in-store sales were down probably about 40%.
Some say the shortage is reminiscent of the 70s.
And I can remember people getting angry and people getting into fights over it, and I'm not going to be a part of it.
And station owners say they don't want any part of the blame. That, they say, belongs to the oil companies.
I guess there was a crack or a leak in the east line, and like everybody, like all the other oil companies, we were having problems with the oxygenated fuel and keeping it up and keeping it level.
Very top is tell me the prop number. Okay.
Connie Ryan and Laura DeVries see things differently.
I'm a Republican.
Democrat.
Yet they also share a common vision: darkness.
Yes, I've been blind all my life.
Okay, this is the mark right there.
Both play an important role in counting the votes that will determine if the Cardinals get a new stadium.
There's still about 100,000 more ballots that need to be counted, and most of them look a lot like this one. Choices on the front and back. But when you're blind, The ballot looks a lot like a novel.
This is the official Braille ballot.
Let me look at that again. They show us where the mark is and we tell them what's marked.
That is, yes.
One will do it and then the other one will do it for verification. So it's quite a scrupulous process. So it's time consuming.
We counted about 20,000 yesterday. We have our processing boards working right up through midnight. Oh, this one starts underneath. Right
Connie and Laura may not count as many ballots as others, but as we're seeing in Florida and right here at home, every vote counts, even those you and I can't see.
I'm glad to help out.
Christmas Eve and everybody's supposed to be together.
And Stephanie Ray and her Phoenix family were together Sunday afternoon, just not at home, at Sky Harbor Airport.
My heart is breaking.
That's because Kathy Stelter had to say a tearful goodbye to her niece. In a court-ordered compromise, Stephanie will live in Wisconsin with her father, leaving behind her friends and a place she calls home.
I feel okay.
But the hugs and tears tell a different story.
We've had a very hard morning. You know, what you guys are seeing now isn't what you would have saw this morning. I packed her things last night while she was sleeping, so we didn't have to go through that.
We just had friends in and out all day, and then we had opening presents and stuff.
We let the teenagers all come and go and just kind of keep things kind of lighthearted. And then as the evening was getting close to an end, it got pretty emotional in the house.
When the time to board finally came, Stephanie said goodbye one more time and headed to what could be her new permanent home.
I want her happy. You know, she's been very, very happy here. She deserves to be happy. She's healthy, and she shouldn't have it any other way.
I don't think a gun is a celebration tool. I don't think that's an appropriate use for a gun.
Shooting in the air on New Year's Eve is a Phoenix tradition that Jack Cox wishes would stop. He's seen and heard the death and destruction it can cause. That's why he spent Sunday afternoon walking the streets with his sons, handing out flyers explaining the danger and consequences of pulling a trigger.
Points out that fines can be over $1,000, that you can go on and have your gun confiscated, and that you can do jail time, and points out that you will have an arrest record if you're caught, because you will be prosecuted.
There's a huge safety issue here, yeah. The people's lives are put at risk. I personally get angry.
That anger pushed Harold Fox to ask Jack and other volunteers to spread the word. After an encouraging first year, this year volunteers have spread out beyond their neighborhood near 15th Avenue in Van Buren.
We're covering areas not only from this neighborhood, but from neighborhoods at least from 43rd Avenue to 16th Street.
And the results are encouraging.
The reduction in the gunshots was better than 95%, probably approaching 99% reduction.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spent most of his life trying to achieve his dream, and he paid for it with his life. Today, thousands of people of all ages and races took time to say thanks.
This man he's the light of my life. Every year I try to come out here and try to show the people that what this man stood for. He stood for freedom for all people.
That hasn't always been a popular belief here in the Valley. For 6 years, voters refused to approve a King holiday. But after protests, boycotts, and the NFL's threat to take away a Super Bowl, voters finally passed the holiday in 1992.
It's not just about a day off of school. It's about a day of enjoying each other and coming together in love.
Most of these people weren't even alive when Dr. King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. The hope is his message hasn't been lost.
I think it's an important day because, exactly, there's a lot of prejudice, and I want my children to know that everybody's equal.
We are getting over the mountain. We almost on to the mountaintop. Before you would see us just black, but now we are a mixed generation, and that makes us feel good. It makes me feel good.
In football terms, the regular season is over and the playoffs are 1 week away. Next Thursday, the Tourism and Sports Authority will begin eliminating sites for the Cardinals' new stadium.
It's fair to say that the Tempe site and the West Side site are emerging.
That's because the Tempe site already has surrounding development and is close to the 101 and 202. The West Valley site has a strong financial package and plenty of land to develop around the stadium. Although there are questions about both sites, the other sites have even more.
The Phoenix site has a great location and has great synergy for the multi-purpose use of the stadium, but they're playing catch-up. They're about a year behind.
The Tempe Mesa is in a favorable location near a proposed light rail line, but there are questions about the site's costs. Finally, there's Fort McDowell. Favorable price, picturesque surroundings, but concerns about traffic, the distance from central Phoenix, and legal issues over sovereignty of the land.
The sovereignty issue is another issue for our legal department to go through them with them step by step, develop the waiver, and get a level of comfort.
I'm optimistic, but the West Side has a very strong proposal with free land from Mr. Long, and I think that's probably our main competition.
When voters approved Proposition 106 last November, the idea was to get politics out of the way political districts are formed. A 5-member independent commission was supposed to do just that. But now there's a new problem: race.
The law says that no more than 2 of the first 4 people appointed to the commission can be from Maricopa County, and already those slots have been filled. Hispanic lawmakers say the problem is, of the remaining eligible candidates, none are Latino.
We've already proven that we can be biased in the past, so that's why many of us believe that we're not going to get a fair shake from those 5 commissioners.
Originally, there were 300 candidates for the commission. The Attorney General's office narrowed it down to 25. Then, Republicans picked 2 and Democrats picked 2. Those 4 then choose the last member. Some lawmakers say all are qualified and should be given a chance.
Those who are making the picks had no choice. We got a list of 25 people to choose from, and consequently there weren't that many Hispanics on that list of 25.
An answer that's not good enough for Senator Rios.
So we see ourselves appealing to the Justice Department in overruling whatever the commission comes out with, assuming that they did not tend to the needs of the minority population in the state of Arizona.
In Phoenix, Bernard Watson, 12 News.
We need to do that. We got to get our application in for a Super Bowl for 2007, a Final Four for 2006.
Tempe Mayor Neil Giuliano wasted little time celebrating his city's win in the battle for the Cards' new nest. Although it will take 3 years to complete this state-of-the-art facility, there's so much to do, and in Giuliano's mind, so little time.
We need to begin work now and through the rest of the spring and the summer to begin putting in applications for all the large-scale events for 2005. So when this opens in 2004, it doesn't sit empty for a few years.
The motion passes.
The Tourism and Sports Authority voted 7-2 in favor of the East Valley. A lopsided vote, TSA Chairman Jim Grogan says, looked like it would go the other way a couple of weeks ago.
I have to give Mayor Giuliano enormous credit. He rallied the troops, he brought everyone together, he got the deal done, and then he got a 7-0 vote out of the City Council yesterday, which really shows spectacular political support.
And Giuliano plans to seek more political support to ensure his vision of a world-class stadium comes true.
We want to work with the Phoenix Convention Bureau and have all the major conventions come in and use the convention center downtown for their meetings and their meal sessions and so forth, but then have the trade show or the exposition just a couple light rail stops away in this facility.
What I need to do is basically pacify them.
Henry Ruiz is getting ready to do battle.
There's more than one colony in this home.
Against an opponent with a nasty disposition and a mob mentality.
The Africanized bees come at you in larger groups, so when they do sting, you have more stings, which means more venom. 98% of all the bees in Arizona are Africanized at this time.
Killer bees are expected to be a big problem this summer. A wet winter has many desert plants blooming early, and that's led to more bee swarms. Henry killed 2 swarms at this house after some got inside and attacked the owner.
They're more aggressive as far as protecting their hive.
If you are attacked, run as fast as you can and cover your eyes and mouth.
Please do not jump into water. Bees will wait, and when someone does come on up for air, the bees will actually go right down the esophagus or up the nasal cavity.
Killer bees aren't going anywhere, so Henry says, be careful.
We were brought up that honeybees, we can go ahead and take care of them, and we can have them in the backyard, and we can produce honey, as a hobby. But with this subspecies of bees, it doesn't allow us to do that.
Very dangerous play.
It's kind of shaking of the brain.
That's what doctors call a concussion. In essence, your brain slams against the inside of your head. Sean Marion suffered a grade 3 concussion, the worst of what are classified as mild concussions.
Headache is probably the most important symptom. People have pain for a while, dizziness, can get nausea, vomiting, amnesia to the event, confusion for a few days.
In most cases, the symptoms go away within a couple of weeks, but doctors say repeated head injuries can cause more serious problems.
Stacking concussions or repetitive, mild head injuries result in worse symptoms, more prolonged symptoms, and we think in some cases even long-term cognitive changes, brain dysfunction.
Although suffering a concussion is not a minor injury, Dr. Scott says Marion's injury could have been worse.
As far as concussions are concerned, yeah, I think he's very lucky, especially hitting the hardwood from the height that he gets up to.
Do you know what chlamydia is?
To be honest, no.
Do you know what chlamydia is?
No, I do not.
These teens aren't alone. Experts say most kids have never heard about chlamydia.
It is easily the most common sexually transmitted disease.
Chlamydia is a bacteria infection picked up during sex. Doctors say what makes the disease so insidious is those infected rarely show signs they're sick. And left untreated, chlamydia can cause serious long-term health problems, including sterility.
Yeah, that scares me, yeah. Have any disease, whether it be chlamydia, AIDS, any of that, yeah.
Nationwide, teens are contracting the disease at an alarming rate. Here at home, experts say things are better, but still troubling.
Our statistics have leveled off at 15 to 19 to around 4,000 cases. Overall, we have 12,000 cases in the entire state, so that's 1/3 of the cases are in that age group of 15 to 19.
The State Department of Health Services has increased its efforts to educate the public and offer testing, but many teens are missing out.
No, I really haven't thought about it, like getting, tested for sexually transmitted disease or anything. It never really crossed my mind.
In Phoenix, Bernard Watson, 12 News.